here we are, being friends, watching the video.
Like,
yeah.
Is it rolling?
Yeah.
If like there was like a part of you that like had like a desire to hear drama and you wanted to be terrible and like guide your way through that, like a reporter, like I would accept that.
Maximus is like, it needs to have a title, and we have to see the title at the beginning. That's how you start a video. I don't think it needs a title. It starts with you guys introducing each other.
My name is Deuce. I lived in the FEC for about 3.5 to 4 years. Lived at Acorn and Eastwind.
I'm Charlotte, and I lived at Acorn and Eastwind too, and I don't know if I'm gonna talk.
Yeah, I moved to Acorn in 2014. I saw a Reddit post that Belladonna, who was a member at the time, I asked her a lot of questions, asked her so many questions that she was like, yo, you should just call me, we should talk about it. I did that. After maybe 10 to 15 minutes, I already told the story.
That's great. Oh, yeah.
You told it to Alana 3 years ago, yeah.
I was living at home in California. I had an apartment, I had a job, and I went on Reddit, and Belladonna, I was like asking her a lot of questions about stuff, and I was asking so many questions that she was like, yo, just call me and we'll see what's up.
Yeah, after like 15 minutes, she was like, you should just move here. So I was just like, all right, I'm gonna check it out.
At the end of that conversation, I was like, yo, this is it. This is my life, my destiny, like right there.
I took all the money that I had in my bank account, got on the bus.
I called my boss, I was like, yo, I quit. And I got on the bus, I only had like $200 to my name, and the ticket cost $200 one way. I feel like I'm living, I'm doing stuff. Like, I don't know, I wasn't living before.
And I was just like, I hope this works out, which ended up being like the beginning of a really cool, interesting journey.
Wow.
What were your first impressions at Eastwind?
Like, cool, a hippie commune. I've always wanted to live on a hippie commune. Everybody, like, well, there was like, not like everybody. Yeah, welcome to Eastwind. We all love each other. And they were like raging drunk. And
There was this time when it was my birthday. I was like walking down the path of my basketball and I saw a bunch of people sitting at Sunnyside. And I was like, hey, it's my birthday. I want to play basketball for my birthday. Y'all want to play basketball? And then they were like, all right. Everyone jumped up and like Joey came running out with a bunch of beer and he was like, let's go. And like literally like all of Sunnyside jumped up and like ran down with me to play basketball. We played like some ridiculous like 5-on-5 game on this little court. And I don't know, it was just like one of the greatest moments for me. It was like all these people who like didn't care about basketball. And I didn't even know them that well at that time. This was like when I first got there. We played and laughed. And people almost got hurt because bodies were flying. And yeah, that was like my favorite memory.
The second that you're born, it's like the world already has like your life planned out for you. It's like, go here, go to this school, go to that, then you graduate, then get a job, then find someone, get married, have kids at this age, but hurry up, you're almost 30. But here it's like, you just like, I don't know, man, it's like, I just want to do my own path. It's like everyone else is going this way, so I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go that way. And I feel like a lot of people here have that same kind of mentality with like, I'm gonna do my own thing. I don't want to be told what to do. I'm not gonna listen to the system. I'm gonna do what I want to do, and that's what I'm trying to do. It's like all about freedom. Let's be free. Let's make our own choices, our own decisions. Let's live how we want to live.
Community is dope because you get to like live in a place where like no one is above you. People care about hierarchies and strive to like not have them versus like when you're out here and you try to get a job. It's weird, like everyone accepts the fact that there's hierarchies. Like they know it, you know it. No one's really striving for like equality.
And I was like, yo, I was like, this is it. I'm surprised it worked out. You know, I'm here, there's like no other black people here, there's Ira here. But that was like a big thing when I got here. Like all my friends and family was like, yo, you can't be out there with all them white folks. And I was like, yes I can, watch.
I think that like if a white person went to live with like 30 black people, like I think there'd be like some adjustments. I would tell them that it's probably gonna be like a great experience and just to be prepared for like little cultural differences.
And there's no like prejudice and stuff like that.
There's no prejudice.
Nah, I don't think so.
Time is so weird. You know, like when Alana interviewed me for that first interview, and I can't remember what I said, but I remember the way that I felt, like the moment it started. And like, it was really easy, like answering that question. Like it was like similar, you know what I mean?
This is like nothing to me. I mean, it's like the color of my skin, but like who I am and my existence is like, I'm just like this energy inside of this thing, you know what I'm saying?
It was like a huge, like, culture shock. I feel like I always say that, like, the 2 years that I spent at Acorn were probably like the greatest, most like hectic 2 years of my life. Like I felt like I was just like on a drug. It was amazing, learning so much.
Like, that's why I always think like racism is like so dumb. It doesn't bother me at all, because it's like, especially here, it's like the person is all that like fucking matters to me. When you connect with people here, it's like you really get into this zone where nothing else really matters. Like their race doesn't matter, their like sexuality doesn't matter, like the way they dress doesn't matter. It's like you're wrapped up in this like beautiful like whirlwind of energy where you don't even see shit else. And that's how I see it. I hope everybody else sees it like that too.
I think that my struggles with the FEC probably just come from like a different like background and culture. So you take someone like me who grew up with like all black people, like all my life, had all black friends, you know, like went to like black schools, did black shit, and then you like make this like extreme jump. I'm like, I love white people. But I hated white people when I was younger. But like I was young and didn't know a lot of white people. All I really knew was that like white people oppress us. I'm black. We ain't supposed to like them. I'm talking about some shit when I was like 10. Huge cultural baggage is like a real thing. It will never be as simple as just being like, come here and we'll treat you like everyone else. So like, for example, like there was like the huge issue with like me and Charlotte and the police.
Like I had been like struggling with my mental health and not really understanding what was going on. At Acorn, I was obviously like very depressed and like struggling and sending out these emails like that didn't really make sense, and no one would talk to me until they were like, you're going to the hospital, and if these people that we've assigned to take you to the hospital bring you back here, we're gonna call the cops.
Everyone I knew, it's like, fuck the police. Like everyone's thinking like that, like where I'm from. And it's like, not just that everyone feels that way, it's cool to think that way. Like if you want to survive, you gotta think that way, and you gotta talk that way. So you just like, it's just like part of your being. Like if you see like a homie like running down the street and a cop is coming after him, like, and the cop asks you where he went, you ain't gonna say shit. Like you just ain't, it don't matter what he did. Like it's our side and it's their side. They're oppressing us, so we know that.
We grabbed some pillows and got in the car and went to the hospital. Juice was just cracking jokes and we were just giggling, and I was like starting to feel good again. Not suicidal, like all that day before I went in the hospital, that feeling had really subsided. And I was on the bed just waiting for the doctors to do whatever, and I was like, I feel fine. And normally when you're in the hospital for something and you feel fine, you're like, I can leave. And so I got up and me and Juice just kind of walked out. All of a sudden like these cops arrived. They were just like in my face like, we're gonna be here and be in the way of you like doing what you want. And I was like being like pissed off towards them, and then they just like cuffed me and dragged me away screaming. None of my times that I've been hospitalized have been nurturing. And Dace tried to get to me and like push a cop or something, or a security guard, and he got arrested too.
And so to finally like sit into meetings or to be going through shit and to realize that people aren't like as adverse to the cops as me, and for people to have an issue with me like fighting the cops or like being so opposed to that, like it's like, I think it's like that cultural shift that I like struggled with. I'm like, what do you mean? This is the police. And they're like, yeah, it's the police and they're gonna help us like get out of this situation. I remember like they're going around at Acorn at one point that people were upset that I was like bragging about fighting the cops afterwards, and like that being a concerning thing. But I was like, why is that a concerning thing? I felt like I had fought the cops. Like that was like such a big deal. Like everyone doesn't do that. Like everyone is like so in fear of these people with like guns and like tasers and mace, and they were literally dragging this like innocent person away against their will. And I was like, I'm gonna try to take them out. And like I lived and I was okay. I didn't get like killed. It wasn't like another like black name on the news. I don't know, I thought that was kind of cool to talk about. I feel like the realization that I was like dealing with was like, yo, I live with people who don't care about shit that I've been through. You know what I mean? When I've like hung out with my friends and been harassed by police and it's been like fucked up, we would always talk about that shit, why we don't like the police and how that's fucking terrible. And it's like all of a sudden, my friends now do not care about that. So like how could they be my friends if they don't believe that like this is real or this is important? I think that if I was like committed enough to East One, like if I knew like I'm gonna stay here, I'm gonna make this my home, like I would have had to put in like a lot of emotional energy into that to do that like the right way, like if I really want to help people. But like in the process of that, I knew I would have to take like a lot of hits, like emotional hits from like people responding in ways that would hurt me. Like I would have to somehow like absorb all that and then respond, say like differently than Jaime, right? Who was just pissed off. I was just mad. And sometimes it's difficult to have the energy to do that. I think that's why I appreciate like white allies so much. I love white allies. I think they're like the best. I didn't know they existed until I came to community. I've learned recently about, I don't know, just like oppressed people like not having enough energy to do things. Like even when I would be like talking to trans people and I would just want to ask them questions about like shit that I didn't understand. And me just asking question, like one question and another question, I could feel it overwhelming them. Like they're already getting exhausted. I'm asking questions that they probably heard a million times and kind of stresses them out. Like if I had like one ignorant white friend, I could work with that person. But this was like 50 ignorant white people.
There was an incident with another member where Jaime was playing hip hop music inside RB, which is the place like where we like do dishes and cook food. And the moment he put it on, I was worried just because like whenever hip hop is playing, like someone has an issue with it. But Jaime was playing some shit, but I was like, well, it's not me, even though I knew that people would walk in and assume it was me because I was in there. Jaime was playing a song by Kanye West called Crack Music, a really great song talking about just like how black communities in the 80s and shit just got like flooded with crack, like that whole epidemic and stuff.
That's that crack music, yeah, that real black music.
He said the N-word in it a lot. At some point when I was like putting away cups, another member named Teo, he came up to me and he said, he was like, nigger, nigger, nigger. Why do they keep saying nigger like that?
How we stop the Black Panthers. That's that crack music, nigga. Ronald Reagan cooked up an answer. Black music, nigga. You hear that?
Teo rolls up on me, like here, like in my personal space.
I was immediately just like floored that some white dude was just like in my face, throwing that at me so casually.
And we've been hanging from the same tree ever since. Sometimes I feel the music is the only medicine.
Either he don't know that this is hurtful to black people or he just don't care. I immediately was like really upset and was like, hey man, you gotta get the fuck out of my face with that. Like, that ain't cool.
And I'm like, yo, why the fuck is you like rolling up on me saying that shit? Yo, get the fuck out of my face. So I walk by him and I hit him really hard, like with my shoulder. Like, I wanted a reason to fight him in that moment. I was so angry, I was so frustrated.
That's that crack music, yeah, that real black music.
He followed me after that, pressing me about it, kept trying to like engage me in a conversation about it. I don't know how to describe the feeling of what it feels like the times when like white people have said the N-word in front of me, but it's just like, I don't know, my face gets hot, I get tense, I'm just like super angry and I hate it because like there's like no other word that exists that has like that same type of power.
How could you let this happen?
And I walk over to like the stove because I'm making oatmeal. And so I'm just like stirring my shit and I'm just kind of steaming about it. But like right as I'm doing that, he rolls up to my side and he gets like really close and he keeps engaging in conversation. He's like, I just want to know why they keep saying that in the song. And I'm like, bro, why the fuck is you talking to me about this? I told you you don't want to talk to me about this. I walk by, hit him again.
And I was like, why the fuck are you following me around asking me about this music? It's not my music.
Yeah, that real black music.
I kept trying to tell him that it wasn't my music. He repeated twice, like, it is your music. This is your music. Which didn't make any sense to me, why he would just say that it was like my music when it wasn't my music.
And this is the soundtrack. This is the type of music that you make when you round that.
He came up to me, followed me again in like the same space, and I turned around and I was like, bro, I don't want to fucking talk about this.
It just got to a point where I was just screaming at him, where I got like really close to his face, and I was like, if you want to have a fucking problem, we can have a fucking problem right here.
At some point while I was like in his face in my most aggressive part, and I was like, do you want to have a fucking problem? He was like, I love you. And I don't know where that came from. And I just got like really pissed. I took his hat off and I just flung him. It just felt like that was the only power I had. I couldn't hit him.
I walked out onto the RV porch and he was just like surrounded by 3 other people, and there was like another member who was saying, we saw what happened, man, don't worry. And so that just kind of like set me off, because it's like, damn, is there really no one else here I can connect with that would be like, yeah, that's so fucked up and we need to do something about that. I think that was like the last straw, because Josh and the Black Lives Matter situation was just like, it was happening. It was in the moment. I just didn't feel safe anymore. I didn't want to be there because I wanted to hit that dude, and I felt like I was close to hitting that dude. If I would hit him, it would have been about me. I would have been in trouble. We're supposed to be in a nonviolent community and you're not supposed to hit people. But also, there's just like no white person there where like a word has like that much power against them.
Why are you being so serious? Why are you acting like that? Because I'm trying to make the world a better place.
Since then, when I talk to my family, I talk to my cousins and like tell them that story, they're like, oh, you ain't knocked this nigga out? And I'm like, nah, man. That's like when it's like, okay, like everyone understands that because it's so bad. It has such a dark history.
I felt like there were multiple times where I was in a situation where like everyone's having a good time, but they're saying fucked up shit. And so at what point do I ruin this good time and talk about social justice?
I could explain to him how hurtful that word is, but then like how much time and energy would it take to explain to him
like how that word is so terrible, but I'm also listening to it in a song, you know what I mean? Like, what does it mean to us? And like, what does it mean when I'm saying it? And what does it mean when he's saying it? I don't always realize that everyone doesn't know this stuff. Like, everyone doesn't know, like what it's like to like reclaim a word and how it feels like a word of love when you're around your own people, and it's like the worst word ever when anyone else says it. I don't think that people should always put people in a position to have to stand up for themselves. Because some people suck at that. I don't know, I guess he just didn't know that. But I don't know, he has to know like that's a bad word, right? I've been going back and forth with like, he's ignorant or he was trying to provoke me, I don't know. I got these hands, and if I put them on you, goddamn. I got these hands, and if I put them on you, goddamn. I got these, and if I put them on you, goddamn. I got these hands, yo. There was NVC. Okay. There was Rosenberg telling me that there's another way. Okay. But back in the day, what a nigga really supposed to do if you acting all cray? Put in a concern? Nah. I'ma do whatever, any weather, I'ma end it in a day. I apologize now. If you think that is foul. If you think it's too loud, but I am not proud. I'm ashamed of the game of my brain and I followed the crowd. See, I was absurd. And not for a moment did I think that I could use words. I was dark in the heart, played a little part. Maybe this shit was a purge, it wasn't suburbs. There was niggas everywhere, and racism had us submerged. Couldn't do shit, but we can do dirt. Never had jobs, but we got that work. Every other day, man, shit got worse. Lil nigga T at a club got murked. Fucking jerk, but these is the perks. You rapping them songs, we live in the verse. It's worse, they banned me from Acorn. They said that I'm violent. I put hands on a cop that wanted to control my girl, and she denied it. They had weapons and armor and wanted to harm her, so I went at them despite it. I wish they could understand what my fucking plight is. If I didn't fight as a kid, oh man, I'd have been dead, get with the program. This is how I learned how to be a man. I'm doing much better, I promise I am. I will hug you and love you and tell you I trust you and cuddle, but don't get befuddled. If you threaten me just cause you can, understand that I got these hands, and if I put them on you, goddamn. I got these hands, and if I put them on you, goddamn. I got these, and if I put them on you, goddamn. I got these. Yeah. That's pretty much it. But yeah, I pretty much left over racial issues happening. I lived at Eastwind for a year and like everything was cool. Like nothing happened. And like when I look back at that, it's kind of crazy to me how that could even happen. There was an issue where like a white member said that Black Lives Matter was racist. And then for people to be like, oh, that's not a big deal, that's okay. Or I understand why he thinks that way. Or I agree with him. Like it is kind of like dividing us. It only took Josh to say Black Lives doesn't matter to ignite this huge dialogue. I liked Josh, like before that. All of a sudden, like the place where I'm like making friends and I'm cool with everyone, I realize I'm with like so many people that aren't vibing with some shit that is like super important to me. Like obviously I'm gonna connect to Black Lives Matter, I know why it's there. In this world, like everyone treats us like Black lives don't matter. So it's really just like highlighting the fact that we're also important. Having that information and that like relationship with Black Lives Matter is very difficult to know that, to feel that, and to hear someone say, no, that's racist. And I think I only understand that from like the point that you made to me, like kind of recently about ignorance. Like I wasn't looking at that situation like, oh, they just don't know what Black Lives Matter is. There were some people there that would say like, well, it does sound racist. All lives matter makes sense. My relationship with All Lives Matter too is that that's like a tool used to like deflect the issues of like people of color. It's like a way to like continue to minimize them. Like we already feel like no one's paying attention to us, no one's caring about us. And so like when we finally do stand up and say Black Lives Matter and someone says, well, all lives matter, it's just like, we understand that. Like we're not saying Black Lives Matter because no one else matters. We're saying because it seems like everyone matters except for us. So when someone who has never heard of Black Lives Matter, they respond with like, wait, I think all lives matter though, then like, I guess I wasn't looking at it back then as like they were coming from a place of ignorance.
It wasn't suburbs, there was niggas everywhere, and racism had us submerged.
Like there was a lot of talk about the definition of racism, like what is racism, and how a lot of people think that racism is just if someone walks up to you and says, I hate you because of your skin color. And so if you're a person at Eastwind that's just sitting there and is like, well no, I'm not racist, and your idea of racism isn't really a thing, there's no effort on their part to understand how someone saying Black Lives Matter is racist, like hurts me. Like racism is like this like huge thing. Like I don't think they're like super intense, just like racist people that like don't like me because of the color of my skin. I think there are things like that happen, or things like me playing a certain type of music that like offends them, that doesn't offend me.
But these is the perks, you rapping them songs, we live in the verse, it's worse.
I think sometimes it's tough coming from a different culture. I guess it would have been nice if they could have accepted the fact that I was offended by this thing, and then could be open to listening to why. Like if someone says Black Lives Matter is racist, or like some weird racial thing that happens, only I take that hit. Like I take that hit to the stomach. And so now I'm in a position where I have to either defend myself, stand up for myself. No one else has to do that, I guess is like what I'm saying.
I wish they could understand what my fucking plight is.
Like more of what was happening was people trying to, I don't know, put themselves in my shoes or think about it like themselves in their own head and be like, well, I don't know, that doesn't seem that bad. I wish that there could have been more of an understanding of like, there's this whole like cultural fucked up baggage shit that I have that like you don't have with this specific thing. Ultimately, that's why I left.
I will hug you and love you and tell you I trust you and cuddle, but don't get befuddled. If you threaten me just cause you can, understand that I got these hands.
Do you have any ideas about how these sorts of things could happen less in the FEC?
Yeah, just care about it. That's all I wanted. I don't know, what is it, 95% of the people on the FEC are white and come from like white backgrounds. I don't think that you can make Eastwind a safe place for people of color unless you put in the emotional work to make it a safe place. The first like step of that is like the willingness to do it, to care. And I think Eastwind has just been big on not really wanting to put a lot of energy into things like that. At least like having those conversations and going through it though, like gives like that community like a better chance to do better like in the future.
That's like what I want out of community, is that hippy-dippy, lovey-dovey like acceptance of each other.
The way that we've been going of having one person of color showing up and then going through all this bullshit and then leaving, then another person shows up and goes through a bunch of bullshit and leaving. What it would take to be a safe space for people like that is for someone to stay there and stick it out through the misery and then recruit another person, and then they sit there and stick through all the misery and then get another person to come through until there's like 10 of them there, and then they actually have a voice because they have support that causes people to pay attention. I don't know, I feel like my beginning of Acorn for me was a lot about empathy, learning how to care about people that are different from you. And I think all that's connected with like racism or sexism. Living in community is such like a rich experience. I think maybe I'll try to give it a shot again someday. I think even like Eastwind's great. Like I had a hard time, but like even like, it's still like a great accomplishment. There was still like once upon a time, some people trying to like find some land and start this thing. It sucks that it can't be for everybody. I still think it's like a great accomplishment, a great place.
Living here, like you realize that you don't really need that much stuff. You don't need cable and like TV and stuff. It's like there's so many other ways. Oh, you can discover so much about yourself like once you like jump out of the box. I think, especially here, it's like the person is all that like fucking matters to me. Their race doesn't matter. Their like sexuality doesn't matter. Like the way they dress doesn't matter. It's like you're wrapped up in this like beautiful like whirlwind of energy where you don't even see shit else. This is like nothing to me. I got these hands.
You're a white ally, right?
Hands. And if I put them on you, goddamn. I got these hands.
I don't know, just like
The craziest thing that I've learned in the process of showing this to people is that some people do not know what a white ally is. Multiple people at Eastbrook were like, yeah, I never heard that phrase before. It's like,
I got this.
it's mind blowing, but like, I mean, I guess at some point in my life, I also had not heard that phrase.
I hadn't heard it really either until I feel like I got to Acorn Land.
Maximus wants the two of us to appear at some point and be like, hey, we edited this. We take responsibility. We're trying to tell the story accurately, but it's not completely accurate. I think it's hard to like feel like you're accurately representing people. The thing that I kind of want to say, if I was going to say something at the end, would be something along the lines of what the purpose of this video was. I think the purpose of this was for me to be your one ignorant white friend.
Oh, that's cool.
And that you talk to me for 4 hours as your one ignorant white friend, and then like me and Maximus could take that and show everyone else without you having to go a message to my one ignorant white friend.